Business and Facebook. It doesn't matter whether you've got a non-profit. It's all about customers and clients. So, basically, what social media, how to get the best out of social media. If you can keep this in the back of your mind the whole way through, is you need to create loyalty, respect, so that those people will then go out and evangelise your business. So just by creating a following isn't where you're going to get the benefit. You need to convince those followers to tell their friends. And on average, every person on Facebook has 130 friends. So if you have one person in your network on Facebook, for instance, they have the ability to tell 130, so you can see how exponentially that will grow. So it's not about just talking to the people in your network, it's giving them information that they will share with their 130. And that's why making things that could go viral, Jared touched on that, viral is something that people would want to share with their friends. So it's usually something funny. Educational, inspirational. That's probably one of the areas you need to keep in mind when you're actually creating information for on your social. The other thing is creating, and all that creates relationships. So you're actually building relationships with your group and then sending them out to be salespeople. Only 5% of customers trust ads. Let's face it, that McDonald's that they have in the ad, that Big Mac is nowhere near what they actually sell you if you don't buy.
Which ad's that?
Any ad, any McDonald's ad that has an actual Big Mac or they're all very nice looking, and then you go and get this soggy mess in a cardboard box. But 90% of customers and consumers trust recommendations from their friends and peers. Can you relate to that? Can you agree? Would you rather give your money to someone that's done business with one of your friends or peers than to just go on to the internet? So that's where marketing has changed, and traditional marketing is actually finding it very tough at the moment, because what traditional marketing is just yelling at people. There's no focus, there's no relationship, there's no ability to do one-on-one. Social media marketing is better because you're creating a relationship. There's an openness there, the ability for your customers to discuss things with you. And then they can go and refer your business to all their friends. Consumers need solutions to their problems. People are on social media for social reasons. They're there to interact with their friends. As a business, you'll be on there to do business probably, but just remember that the people that you are marketing to are there for social reasons, and they don't want to be spammed. They don't want to be blasted or broadcast. They don't want that. Going back to that, 5% of consumers don't trust ads, and by spamming or posting buy my stuff on social media all the time will just create that negative feel for your business. There is another stat, and I can't remember it. Not even else. Am I as old as you? No, so it's in my brain.
Nobody's as old as me.
So consumers are on social media for social reasons, but they're also there to find solutions to their problems. Now that's where you come in, because if somebody's looking for a solution that your business provides, then you have the ability to sell or create a relationship with that person who's interested in what you have. And then you've got the fish on the hook. And then you do a really good job with them, and they go off and tell 130 friends. So those networks that they're the consumers are interacting in and talking with. They're happening now in this communication revolution, and which is happening on social media, Facebook being one of the largest. There is about 300 social media platforms on the internet. So, yeah, if you think Facebook is overwhelming, try looking around at all the others. But Facebook is the biggest. So that's probably, there's a lot of chance that your customers or potential customers will be on Facebook. So the simple definition of Facebook is it's a massive forum. It's a forum where people get on there and interact with their friends, peers, network. The complex definition, it's an interactive community where everyone can interact directly with anyone else they choose. Worldwide Facebooks, 800 at the moment, 845 million. And as Jared said, it's the third, if it was a country, it would be the third largest. Australian Facebook users, there's 13 million, which is over 50% of the population in Australia. So you would think that some of your customers would be contacting, and every second person's on Facebook. Nearly 37% of Facebook users in Australia are over 34, which is probably the target area. Most businesses are, depending on what they're selling. And that's the other thing you have to look at is who are your target market. So if they're 34-year-olds, then yes, Facebook would be. Australian women aged 55 and over are the fastest growing Facebook demographic. And did you know 80% of purchases made in Australia are made by females between the age of 35 and 55?
That's because the men are too lazy to get on there and do it.
Exactly, on this, yeah.
But we're all over bargain too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Australian users spend around 30 hours a month on Facebook, download 8 million pictures, write, sorry, must have been asleep when I did that. They write about 32 million wall posts and 45 million status updates, and I'll explain what a status update is. Australia leads the world in time spent on social media combined. So we're very social. Apparently Brisbane is the most, the town or the city with the most Facebook users in Australia.
Most of the highest percentage.
Oh, that's a tricky thing. I don't know. That's most of the highest percentage.
Well,
probably not the highest percentage, I would say, because it's big.
Yeah, Sydney's
it would be a
3
true
times as
state.
big.
Yeah.
And where was that? I missed that. I was talking.
Brisbane.
Oh.
Yeah. There's two main areas in Facebook. These are the ones you'll need to know. One is your personal profile. Exactly what it is. It's personal. It needs to be in your name. Now, you can set your privacy controls. We'll have a quick look at that, but we could spend a whole day on setting up privacy controls on Facebook. So, yeah, we have a personal profile, and then we have our business profile, or business page, is what they call it. So that's what you do with business. You set one up for your business, and you can actually set up additional admins. So if you sell a business or you're an employee and you leave the business, you just hand it over to another person. So that business just keeps going. Each of those platforms within Facebook have two main areas. They have what's called a news feed, and that's what you see. Only you see. That's your private news feed. It's just like an email inbox. All your friends' posts will show up in your news feed. I'll just leave that. The other area is called a wall, or it's actually now called a timeline. This is what you set up to show people that aren't your friends, or you can also limit it for the people who are your friends. So I'll show you how to set up some limitations on who can see what on Facebook. So a personal account is called a profile, and that profile you collect friends, but it's a two-way, it's like an opt-in. So I might ask Lynn to be my friend, and it's up to her whether she accepts or not. So if somebody asks to be your friend and you don't want them to be your friend and you don't want them to see anything on your wall, you just say, no, I don't like you, I don't want to be your friend. In fact, you don't even have to do that, you just ignore it, and that, you know, they'll know that you haven't accepted it, that, you know, you could always say that you didn't see it.
Can you tell us what's the implication? You've got these friends, so what does that?
That means they'll be able to see what you post, but I'll show you how you can actually set up lists, which then determines what groups of people you let to see what posts that you post.
If I have like B&Q as a friend, does that mean everybody who's a friend of B&Q's can see what I post?
B&Q.
B&Q.
Okay, so they've still got a personal profile or a fan page. Have they got a business page? So if you like a business page, that's different too.
I've got them set up as a friend.
Okay, well I have to look at their profile setup because they should be running a business in profile.
Yeah.
But yeah, if say we're friends and you post and I see your post, but I'm a friend over here, theoretically, unless she's your friend as well, she shouldn't see. Now there are some problems with Facebook at the moment where some people are complaining that that isn't occurring, that those people that aren't your friend but are my friend will be able to see. But there is, the reason for that is if I post on your wall, say, no, you post on my wall, which is, I'll show you in a minute, and it's very complicated. So what was your name? Wendy was my friend, and you posted on my wall. Well, I've given access to Wendy to see my wall. And if you posted on my wall, then that, almost like that IP now is mine, and I'm going to give Wendy. So you just have to be mindful of that when you're interacting.
And it goes on and on and on. I mean,
yeah.
You know,
Oh, it's exponential.
Yeah.
It's huge.
It's viral.
So yeah, a personal account is called a profile, and that's where you collect friends. Your timeline is used to display your status updates or your posts to selected friends. So we'll be able to we'll show you how to do that. Your status updates or your posts will display in selected friends' newsfeeds, just like I explained there. So I might, Fiona, I might set Fiona up so that she can't see anything. She's just my friend, but she can't see anything. So when Wendy posts to my wall, if Lynn posts to my wall, Wendy can see it, but Fiona can't. So there's ways to set up. And a news feed is where you read your friends' status updates. And that's your private area.
Have we got that in as well?
No, but it'll be on the website. It's just that there was these slides, I think it went to about 22 pages, so it'll be on the website. Yes. Oh, have I got that one on the...
Tracy, all
Yes.
that applies to the business page as well.
Sorry?
Does all of that?
No.
No, that's for personal.
It's just like a company. If you've done any corporate law, you'll know that a company is a separate entity, but a director is a person, or an owner of that company. So the owner, being you personally, has a Facebook profile. You then go out and create a business page which just becomes like a separate entity altogether.
Yeah.
So what you post personally on your profile is totally separate to your
So
business.
most of us here today are looking at doing it for organisations.
But you need a profile
Yeah.
to be able to set up a business page.
A person does.
Yes, you need a personal profile to be able to set up a business page and add them.
So would
Tracy.
It's just like a company, you can't just go out and create a
Okay.
company without doing it.
But in the case of an organisation, right, so community centre like I'm involved now, I'm acting as a local manager, right, which means that my job is to work myself out of the job and get a new manager and develop them. That's fine. So can I set up a profile or manage it?
No. Well, you're not, that's a breach of.
Well, that's the whole point. I'm here for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And therefore, why would I set up a personal profile or set up my community centre profile when I'm going to step out of that damn job and Joe Boggs is going to come and take over?
Yeah, you just get them to set up their Facebook and then hand it over to them. They have their own, if they, and like, one in every 2 people have got
Yeah,
Facebook page.
that's untidy though.
Yeah, but that's,
I know, they're the rules of the
now,
structure.
you can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can do whatever you want,
Yeah.
but I can only tell you what Facebook's terms and conditions are.
Okay.
And that is, you
So
can't do
if my
it.
name happens to be Fred Manager, it doesn't matter. Quite right.
Tracy, just, I suppose, I don't do a lot of Facebook. I think my kids are on there, which is the only reason I'm on there. And one of them is on the other side of the world, so it's helpful to keep in contact with what she's doing. But I know I've linked to her Facebook page. I've seen some of her friends. I can click on her friends' photos. I end up in their Facebook page. And I'm sitting there thinking like, I know all these things about all these people that I don't even know.
They haven't set up, they haven't
Yeah,
set
they
up
haven't
privacy
set up
settings. They've got open privacy settings.
Yeah, because some of it's like, I'm sitting there thinking.
Yeah, they don't know, they don't know how to use the privacy settings.
Because I just seem to be going into all
Sorry,
these
yes.
people's
So the question I've got is, I understand you've got to set up a personal profile, but do you really have to have that active and have friends at all?
No, exactly.
As long as you
No.
have a profile
Yeah.
and it's private just for you, you can then set up your.
Exactly, you don't have to have friends, you don't have to post anything, you can have a dormant, empty, you don't even have to put a photo on there if you don't want.
But people will know it's
No,
there.
you can actually hide it by searches, so we'll show you
But,
that.
but can we
Completely
still
online.
then run an organisation, what do you call it, a page or?
Yeah, it can then create a page, yes, and admin a
And then
page.
that is open.
That's, the page is open, yes, because it's a separate entity.
So you could have a profile at work and hide it and have your profile at home and have all your friends on your home?
Theoretically, no, terms and conditions breach, but in practice,
Okay. So
well,
you could have your
Fred
profile at
Manager
home.
could be a person.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, go back. Okay, so this is actually my timeline, which many of you may still be on the old wall, which means you'll be rolling over to timeline very shortly. Facebook have got a deadline that they're trying to push everyone over to the timeline. Timeline, as long as it's controlled and monitored, I think is a great thing, especially for the younger generations. It's going to be like, I'm a left brain, not a right brain. I'm actually the opposite. I'm very analytical and I don't really have a privacy issue. I'm not doing anything wrong and there's nothing, I know that some people, it's not that they're doing anything wrong, but I just don't think, I don't have a problem with privacy. I'm a Gemini as well, so.
Oh.
Yeah. So the timeline will be a great thing to keep a record of your life, like a scrapbook. And I know that some people think, why would you want to do that? But to me, I think that is awesome, to be able to have a record. And for instance, my timeline, if I go way back to when I was born, oh, sorry, I can't click on it. Oh, when we're on the internet, I'll show you. I've actually put up my baby photos. I've put up my mum's wedding. It's just, but I have control over it. I can determine who can see anything on my timeline, or nothing. I might want to turn it completely off. But you'll find people are doing business with you, especially if you're a small business, and your business name is, for instance, Townsville Social Media. Would you do business with Townsville Social Media, or do you want to do business with the person that runs or owns or works in Townsville Social Media? That's where I think we're headed. We're actually headed to the old-fashioned I remember when my grandmother walked into the butcher's 35 years ago and they knew her. The butcher knew her name. The butcher knew what she ordered every week. And there was no way any advertising was going to get her to go to another butcher, even if they were cheap. They had a relationship. And that, I think, is where we're heading. Consumers are sick and tired of throwing their money at people who are incompetent, the businesses that are incompetent. They want to do their research and they want to know who is behind that business. So by having a fake profile, I don't know, I mean, it's just me, like I said, I don't really have a problem with privacy, but I would like to know who's behind the business. I'd like to be able to go and have a quick look at their Facebook profile and see that they're not a con person, or, you know, and I might have friends that are their friends, which means I've already got a relationship with that person now, the business owner, because I have a friend who's in. So, you know, it may be of benefit to put your name on the business or the non-profit, because that might actually get you better coverage.
Tracy, you obviously have statistical data to back that up, if that's the trend. But I'm just sort of wondering, for this as an old type person, I don't have time to look at your history and all that. If I want a service or an organisation, I'm actually more interested in that rather than each individual that's behind that and looking at all the value finance, which I'm sure will be very...
Oh,
The point is that really, if we're all time poor, and most people are, then why do you believe that there's a trend that we really want to get back to that? We don't have time for that stuff.
So
Isn't that why we're using something that's not personal now? Isn't that why people are using Facebook, so they don't actually have to talk to that person?
Personal. I would say personal. Facebook is personal. It's not personal. It's definitely personal, because you're actually talking to someone, whether you know that their name is Fred Manager or something.
I'm not trying to...
Yeah, no.
I'm just saying that the mindset is, I'm probably misunderstanding, because I'll use Gerard's example. You know, during dinner, we have adult children tweeting their Facebook at each other instead of actually talking to the person next door to them. That's personal. If I'm doing this, that's not personal.
No.
And because we are time poor, and most people aren't, you know, whether it's the young
But
people...
is it easier to search on Google for a business person or a business that you want to deal with than to pick up the phone and talk to them? I'd rather search on Google than pick up the phone and talk to them. And if by chance their Facebook page comes up, or their LinkedIn, obviously, actually LinkedIn is a great way to control your online reputation, because if somebody types in your name, chances are LinkedIn is going to be on the front page. Look, it's social media is not for everyone. Definitely
It's
for everyone.
The people here are not in business. We're not selling anything to anyone. So we don't need... You are.
We're selling a service.
Yes.
We all sell services. Even a community organisation like
definitely.
us sells a service
Except
to the community to make them aware of what's there.
Sure. Is it as important for us to then know whether I'm a nice person or not, or whether the organisation is promoting something that you believe in too? Or you want to be involved with?
No, but when you get involved with personal lives, like in my case it might be on the ER side, and some of you know what that is, it becomes very personal.
I mean,
ER is emergency relief.
And you know, it's up to you whether you want to display your, you know, I'm coming from a business to make money, to sell products and create relationships. So I've not worked with non-profits before, so I don't know. And all the businesses that I've ever worked with have an owner that needs to create a relationship with a customer. So that's where I'm
and so we're a committee that changes every year. So I don't know who we would decide to link it to.
Well,
because
that's where the friend manager approach
That's why you do that thing.
But I mean,
But I can't tell you that you can do that.
even committees, if they change every year, still have to go off to the bank every year and get a new signature put in for, there's a process that you go through with a
So then
change
it'll
of
be,
committee.
you know, create a Facebook page, add to there, and, but, and that's what, we better move on, because we're not going to get nearly as much done.
Just quickly, if I may, Tracy, the reason I'm personally here is from another course, there was a statement made by an organisation that looks after homeless children and homeless kids, street kids. The statement was, or they asked the question, what do you believe to be the most revered possession of a homeless child? Of course, we sort of stood there dumb-mouthed, and they said, and this is even before food. No, revered possession. And the most, it's the damn mobile phone.
Yeah.
So it's their limit. So, that's why I'm here, because if you're talking about the future, and that's what I think we all are, in community organisations that set out to help the community, and they're part of that community, this is the
Well, actually, I was right, relationships and the way they interact now is in the phone.
Yeah.
And there's nothing we can do about it. It's technology, it's evolution. We've
It's
moved.
communication.
And communication.
That's the bottom line.
Can we-
And that's what it is communication.
Can we move
Move
on?
on. Okay,
Yes.
so this is my wall. Now I can control who can see what. You may not, if you went to my wall, you wouldn't see anything. You'd see my photo, maybe, and a couple of advertising posts that I might have opened up to everyone. So you have control over who can see. And the reason why you're seeing those other posts is because they haven't set their plans.
What does the wall of your company look like?
Yeah, we'll get to that,
Good.
yeah.
Just a quick question, where is that data stored? Is it stored locally on your own
No.
laptop, or is it stored offsite?
It's on Facebook. Facebook is free. They have servers. They would have servers that all this information is sitting on. That's the thing. When you sign into Facebook, and everyone complains about it, but the thing is, you are not made. You're not forced to go on Facebook. So they have access. The information got to say something. So, and if you had a server of your own, maybe you could set up your own social networking platform and be able to have it controlled and keep all the information. But once your information is out there on the internet, it's out there. And that's the thing. So you just got to be very careful. And I've told my 17-year-old, never post anything that you wouldn't want your grandmother to read. Or if you want to be going Prime Minister, and they'll dig it up, because you can delete it on Facebook on the profile, it's never gone. It's always somewhere, it's stored somewhere. This is my news feed. So this is my personal area behind Facebook. This is where all the posts from my friends are streamed so I can read them. So Lynn's posts, Wendy's posts, Fiona's posts will all go into my news feed and I'll be able to read them. And I can also block them. I can turn them off. I can unfriend them. I can hide them. There's a whole heap of things you can do to them. So you can be a friend. Like I might say, oh, I'll be a friend to Fiona, but I might want to know, she might be a dog lover and I'm a cat lover, so I'll just turn her off because I don't want to see any of those dog photos. So yeah, you can set it all up if you know where to go. So your Facebook profile. You can upload a cover, which is that big image there. You can add a photo. You can customise privacy settings. You can customise your information, so where you live, you can your interests, books that you like to read, movies you like to watch. Create lists. You can actually put your friends into lists. So if you have family lists that you want to send photos of your baby out to, that you don't want to send to your work colleagues. You might have work colleagues who you want to talk work with, but you don't want your family to see. So that's where this invite friends. So you send an invitation. If it's not accepted, then you can't see, or depending on the policy settings, you can't see.
So do you just take it like that you've been rejected? Do you just,
No, they may not.
Do you take offence?
No,
No.
What?
Supposed to.
You just
Yeah, but
get
some people might have a profile.
Some people have enough friends. I don't really like him anyway.
There is a way of, like I said with Fiona, I can friend her and then put her in a block folder. So she's a friend, and she's just sitting there. But I don't want to hurt her feelings, so I'm going to stick her in.
So like what happens when you see her at the Christmas party and she's rejected you as a friend? Do you go
You don't talk about Facebook
No,
Christmas
yeah.
parties.
I bet it happens so with the kids.
People are too busy worrying about their own lives to worry about whether you're offending them.
Absolutely.
You've got to be fairly robust about that. I find that all the time, that I do it, I feel guilty when I've got people come, but if I don't see a reason, I don't accept it. Simple as that. Then I have to face it with the Christmas party.
It's a psychological thing.
And
Taking a lot of people rejects.
And maintain your Facebook etiquette. And you can also, in your profile, you can join groups of like-minded people. So you might have a group, say if you're, with Umbrella or something, you might have an Umbrella group where all the employees or the people associated with Umbrella can get into that group. It's a closed group, no one else can see what you're talking about. Stop a little forum. So that's handy. You can play games, you can install apps, and you can create events that you can invite your friends to. The benefits of a Facebook profile. Most people use Facebook profiles to connect with family and friends. You can join groups of like-minded people. Mums often on Facebook to watch children. That was the reason I got onto Facebook, is to watch my 17-year-old. And look at me now, I know more than him. You can even play games on Facebook around there. Facebook profile etiquette. It's the 80-20 rule. This is on a profile, this is your personal profile. Don't spam your business stuff to your family and friends, they don't want to hear about it. But if you find, you can, the ratio is about 80-20. So if you wanted to promote your business to your family and friends, then try and limit it a little more. Otherwise, they'll just unlike yours to put in your box. Don't sell to your friends, we can't cover that. Use this to filter and control privacy. Don't accept friends you don't know. That's a hard thing to tell a 17-year-old too. Can't cover that. Never poke. There's a function on Facebook. It's called poke. It's just like if you push a button, if you push a little tab next to someone's name, it actually sends like a note across the other person's page, and the screen shakes or something. But it's very
Very what?
very annoying. You're trying to work or something, and you get these pokes all the time. Don't. It's just, I don't even know why Facebook put it in there. It serves no purpose. Respect other people's walls. Now, you can actually post on other people's personal profile walls, but as an etiquette, just we have a problem with a business. There is a business in town that uses a personal profile to run their business. This is a legitimate cash business, and she runs it in her personal profile, and she posts her spam, her selling, buy my stuff on other people's walls. That's just, there's no relationship built. If I was a friend of hers, I wouldn't mind, but she hasn't made the effort to create a relationship. She's just gone ahead and tried to send stuff to my friends about her business.
Can you then take that off?
You can, yes. But, if you don't get onto Facebook for 3 or 4 days, it's been sitting there for 3 or 4 days. Think before you post, or don't drink on Facebook. And that's the thing, trying to tell the teenagers. They are becoming more savvy though, I must admit. I think they're realising the backlash. Now we're moving on to the business pages. They're called pages. So a user can create a business page that collects likes, or they're actually called fans. Your business page or wall or timeline is used to display display business updates to your fans. Your business's newsfeed is where you read updates from other business pages that you've liked. I'll go through that in a minute. Oops. Go back. Okay. With a business page, you can go, you create your business page, you set it up with your logo and everything and make it look good, put some information about your business on there. Then you can ask your friends, you hop into your personal profile and you say, come on friends, you want to come and like my business page. So they then become fans. They actually have two connections with you, one through your personal profile and one through your business page. Business pages can't make friends. They're just like a normal business. They can have people walk in through the front door and they're your fans. But that business can't get up and go and move into someone's home or, so businesses can't see your profile when you like them. It's very different. It's a one-way system. So just because a customer's walked in doesn't mean you know where they live or all their other stuff. So don't be afraid when people come and like your business. Let anyone like your business. Don't be selective. In fact, there's no way, or there is a way to remove fans if they become overly boisterous or spammy or anti your business. You can remove them from your and block them from your business page. But you can't really stop people coming into your business and having a look at your page. So that's not my business page because as of Thursday night, Facebook decided to change everything. And so I went hunting on the internet to find businesses that had already updated to the new wall, and Coca-Cola was one. So you can see it looks very similar to the profile that I had before. So they're on a timeline. The business now is a timeline. So you'll be able to put in photos of when you built the business and when you incorporated and all those sorts of milestones in there. And, if that's what you want to share with your potential and existing customers. And this is where you do 80% of your business on this. There is just one catch though. When you post on your wall, the people that are going to get those posts are your fans. It's a closed community. So unless you can create something that's viral, that your fans will share with their friends, you're really just preaching to the preaching, preaching to the converted. So what you need to do is get out. Get out of your business and go and see the business next door and make a relationship with them. So go and do joint ventures. Find people that are other businesses that are targeting the same target market as you. So if your target market is teenage girls, you're selling teenage girls shoes, then you go and find a business that sells teenage girl clothes and one that sells shoes or handbags. So you go out and then you start to create a relationship with them. You share their posts on your wall. How good would that feel? How much of a relationship are you going to build with that other business if you're sharing their stuff? Then when you need them to share your stuff with their target market, that's how you expand your network. So marketing socially is the total opposite to traditional marketing, where you create an ad and it just gets blasted out and you just wait for the phone call. Social media is a lot more time consuming because it's a nurturing thing. But the thing is, once you've started getting your fans engaged and creating a relationship with you, then they will go and share that with their friends. So that's the wall. That's
Starting to look a lot like a web page.
It is.
Yes. Oh, that's all it is. Yes, exactly.
So why do you have both?
Because this is my analogy. If you had a website would be like creating a shop you know, even here, say if we set up the volunteer here, we have to get something to get people past the front door and into the door to buy your stuff. Whereas Facebook is like setting up a shop in Stockland. The audience is already there. You're just setting up, people are running past your door all the time, you just have to get their attention, all of them. So that's the difference. You can have a website, but unless you can direct traffic to that website, and that's a lot of work if anyone's done SEO and tried to get traffic to a website, especially the static websites these days, whereas Facebook's already got the traffic. Yeah.
I'm sorry to keep disturbing.
No, that's all right.
If you're setting up a business page, which is linked to a real person's profile,
Yes.
you're saying that only people that like you can see the business page?
No. Business page is totally separate, yeah.
But, I mean, but how do people see that business page?
Well, that's where you have to get it shared. You still have to, people can, right, okay. So,
You can
if,
advertise it on your website as well.
yeah, on your signatures, at the bottom of your signature, in fact, this is where traditional marketing comes in, and the best thing would be, if you're doing an ad on TV or a printed ad, always have a call to action that drives that traffic to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, your website. Because as the what they call the push marketing, you can't create a relationship by blasting people. You need to get them to come to you, and that's where if you can get them to 50% of them are going to be on Facebook already. All you need them to do is go to your Facebook business page, like the page, then every time you post, it will show up in their personal news feeds.
How do you get them to find you?
Well, like I said, with marketing, you've got to market like.
Sure, but
Put it on
you
your
know,
website, on your
okay, but you
emails.
talked about if you've got a traditional ad in the paper.
Yes, put up, we're on Facebook,
Yeah, find
follow us on
us on-
Facebook, find like us on Facebook.
Okay, yes, but then,
Or come to Facebook and enter a competition, or if you're a friend on Facebook, like if you had a shop, like a shoe shop, you put a sign out and say, our friends on Facebook get 10% off.
okay, but how do you search on Facebook?
Oh, okay,
Do
yeah.
you just go
No,
through,
there's just a box at the top, just like Google.
but do you go through Find Friends? Do you
No,
look
no,
for
no,
business through
no.
Find Friends?
No, it's just that box up there. The search box right up
Search.
there. Yeah, just like Google.
For the businesses of the business, for me, what I do is I particularly focus on Townsville businesses with Facebook, and we're talking about shoe shops here a bit, because they're one of the heaviest users. And women's fashion shows because of the demographics. But even just Townsville shoes will then bring up a list on the search.
Oh, is that
And then you can find half a dozen listed businesses and say, yeah, that's the one I wanted to go and see.
And the other thing is even just Google. If you wanted to find somebody's business page on Facebook, sometimes the Facebook search won't work. You just Google Facebook volunteer Townsville, volunteering Townsville, and their Facebook link will come up.
Alright.
There has to be a certain number of likes to that page before that search does work, is that right?
No. You need 25 likes to create a custom URL. A custom URL is, you like your web address. When you first sign up your business page, you'll get a whole heap of numbers and letters, and when you get to 25 likes, you then can control what goes up in there. And your best bet is to put your keywords in there. So if you're a shoe shop in Townsville, you would be mad if you're like fan a shoe or whatever, some infatuation. Now, unless you knew that was a shoe shop, that name does not really tell you what it is. So if I was her and I was on Facebook, I'd put Townsville shoes and then put infatuation. Because if you had infatuation, no one would find it. So you've got to be mindful of keywords.
Tracy, one of the things that really comes to mind for me is for within the not-for-profit sector is that we are constantly sending things to other not-profits about, people looking for help or our newsletters and all those sorts of things. But generally, we send it to one person within an organisation. We rely on that person to flow it through to the rest of the people in the organisation. To me, that's where I can just see this, because, I mean, we're fairly good at where I come from in just sending that information out. But I'm thinking this is one way of getting it straight to them. You're not relying on that one person going, oh, this could be relevant and I'll send it out.
Now, it also depends on whether it's just for management or whether it's for everyone in that, or all their leads. Now, if it's something for all their leads and you've created a relationship, yeah, sure. If I had a relationship with Coca-Cola and I wanted to tell Coca-Cola's fans about a special deal I've got, well, I had a relationship with Coca-Cola, they wouldn't have a problem with me posting on their wall, which means it would get into their, in front of their fans, who may not be my fans, and then their fans will see my post and say, oh, I'm really interested in that, and click on it and come over to my page and then like my page, and now they get my updates.
But presumably Coca-Cola doesn't allow that, otherwise everyone would be going there.
No, they do, yeah. They do. And they want interaction, they want engagement. And it's all about creating a community. And if somebody posts on their rubbish, well, yeah, or obviously they're going to delete it. If they're going to say, I hate Coke, it tastes like rubbish, how good would it be when, like, 10 million people post after that and say, you're mad, you got rocks in the head, it's the best thing ever. So that negative has now actually become a positive for the business. And you can relate it to any business, not just Coca-Cola. Like our business, if we have someone say, Tracy has no idea what she's talking about, and then I have 20 of my fans saying, you're mad, she's done this and this and this and this, how good does that make me look? I didn't do anything, I didn't delete it. The negative's there, you can't make everyone happy. So.
Tracy, just a quick one, talking about the amount of data you can put up there. Obviously, when you have a website, you've got a significant amount of pages you can manipulate and all that sort of give you stuff.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about Facebook, are you confined in what you've got?
No. We can install apps. So I'll show you that too.
Okay.
In 3 hours we wouldn't even touch on those.
No, the question I have in my head, in our environment, the community centre environment, is that, all right, if that's the case, do I need to put a computer link to our web page?
Oh, obviously. In fact, that's where Coca-Cola, I would fail them on